Most automakers build cars. BYD builds everything inside the car. The company began not as a car maker, but as a humble battery producer. From that foundation, it has grown into the world's largest electric vehicle manufacturer, holding a position no rival can claim. At its core lies BYD's signature innovation, the Blade battery. Safer, cheaper, and more durable than conventional designs. In an industry where battery safety and cost are critical, this technology gives BYD a decisive edge. But BYD did not stop at the heart of the car. It seized control of the muscles, the power electronics that drive the motor. Unlike peers reliant on foreign suppliers, BYD designs and produces its own IGBT and silicon carbide semiconductors, insulating itself from the chip shortages that paralyzed rivals. And now, it is building the brain. Its newly developed God's Eye system delivers Level 3 autonomous driving on highways and Level 4 automated parking. In a bold move, BYD has pledged to accept liability when its cars park themselves, a rare statement of confidence in its engineering. This makes BYD unique. It is not simply another EV maker competing on style or branding. It is the world's first true full-stack EV company. Batteries, semiconductors, intelligence, and manufacturing all under one roof, tightly integrated, and already profitable at scale. Even Tesla, once dismissive of BYD, cannot claim this degree of independence. Tesla excels in software, but still relies on outside suppliers for batteries, sensors, and chips. BYD alone spans the entire EV value chain, from raw energy storage to artificial intelligence. In an industry where scale, technology, and profits rarely align, BYD has achieved all three. The market has noticed. From 2020 to 2025, its stock price soared, rewarding early believers and cementing its place as one of China's most celebrated companies. And yet, just as BYD reached this height, one of its most iconic backers quietly walked away. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, which first invested in BYD in 2008, reduced its stake from over 20% to nearly zero by 2025. The disposals came in measured steps, disclosed like the steady beat of a drum. The symbolism was hard to ignore. Buffett, the world's most renowned long-term investor, once called BYD a remarkable company. His retreat unleashed a storm of speculation. Was he simply locking in a 30x profit or signaling that BYD's golden age was peaking? Markets wavered. Each sale rattled sentiment, and at one point BYD's stock slid nearly 30% from its highs. Suddenly, investors were asking not what the balance sheet showed, but what Buffett had seen. His exit left a haunting question. Is BYD's long journey upwards still intact, or has the easy money already been made? Hi, I'm Freeman, an independent investor focused on stocks listed in the US, Hong Kong, and Singapore. My connection with BYD goes back to 2017, when friends in China told me, "You see it everywhere." At the time, I believed the auto industry was on the cusp of an electric revolution. So I took the plunge, thinking that betting on the most visible brand in the world's largest car market couldn't go too wrong. For 3 years, nothing much happened. The stock was flat, even disappointing. Then 2020 arrived. BYD took off. I sold for a comfortable profit, just short of doubling my money, and felt pretty smart. But the rally didn't stop. Had I held on, it would have been a true multi-bagger. Fast forward to today. After Warren Buffett gradually trimmed and finally exited his stake, BYD stumbled, down nearly 30% from its highs. Yet some financial influencers on social media remain firmly bullish. That contrast made me pause and ask, is BYD still a compelling investment, or are there hidden risks we need to be wary of? Before we dive in, a quick note. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing here is financial advice, just my humble perspective, sharing research and reflections. Unlike many traditional automakers that compete mainly on design, cost, or marketing, BYD is first and foremost a technology company. Its foundation is not glossy branding, but relentless innovation, backed by a vast portfolio of patents and intellectual property spanning batteries, power electronics, semiconductors, and intelligent driving. Its founder, Wang Chuanfu, is not the typical charismatic salesman. He is an engineer, often described as tech crazy, for his obsession with building critical technologies in-house rather than depending on suppliers. To truly assess BYD, we cannot stop at sales volumes or market share headlines. Those are the surface numbers. The real measure lies deeper, in the company's technological depth, its strategic choices, and its ability to adapt in a rapidly evolving industrial landscape. That is why, before even turning to valuation, I believe we must pose the fundamental questions as follows. 1. Technology. Are BYD's core technologies in batteries, semiconductors, and intelligent driving genuinely competitive on a global scale? 2. Disruption risk. How likely is it that a technological breakthrough, such as solid-state batteries, could leapfrog BYD and erode its hard-won advantage? 3. Full-stack strategy. Is BYD's control of the entire value chain an enduring edge, or could it become a liability if the industry shifts too fast for a closed ecosystem to adapt? 4. Industry cycle. Where are we in the EV cycle? Has China's domestic market already matured, or are we still at the start of a longer global growth curve? And finally, the valuation. Does today's valuation properly reflect both the risks and the rewards embedded in the answers to the first 4 questions? These 5 questions form the lens through which I will examine BYD. Not just its current strength, but the durability of its leadership, its exposure to disruption, and ultimately whether the stock is worth owning at today's price. To answer them, we need to step back and examine how BYD has shaped its core technologies and strategies, and where it leads and where it lags. When analyzing EV batteries, investors often fixate on a numbers game: watt-hours per kilogram, charging speeds, cycle life. But the deeper question is not simply who has the best specs today, but who has chosen the right technical path for mass adoption tomorrow. Here, BYD made a defining choice. Instead of chasing nickel and cobalt-heavy chemistries like many rivals, it doubled down on lithium iron phosphate, LFP, a chemistry long dismissed as too low in energy density. BYD turned that supposed weakness into a strength through its signature Blade battery. The Blade is not a new chemistry, but a radical re-engineering of LFP into an architecture designed for safety, efficiency, and scale. Each cell is a long, thin blade, slotted directly into the pack without intermediary modules. This so-called cell-to-pack design boosts space utilization by nearly 50% and improves thermal management. The results are striking. In the industry's harshest nail penetration test, where nickel-based NMC cells often erupt in flames, the blade did not smoke or ignite. Its surface temperature stayed below 60 degrees Celsius. Combined with cycle durability of over 3,000 charge-discharge cycles, the Blade has become the benchmark for both safety and longevity, making it ideal for high-mileage fleets and mass-market cars. BYD turned these traits into a marketing weapon, branding itself as the builder of the world's safest and most reliable EV batteries. But safety and reliability are only half the story. Energy density and charging speed are the other battlefields. BYD's latest Blade 2.0 delivers around 210 watt-hour per kilogram, translating into 600 kilometers of range for sedans and 500 kilometers for mid-size SUVs. That marks a huge leap from the earlier generation, but still lags behind rival Cattle's Qilin NMC packs, which exceed 255 watt-hour per kilogram. On charging speed, Blade 2.0 achieves 3C performance, 10 to 70% charge in about 10 minutes at high-power stations. Impressive, but again slightly behind Cattle's NMC packs that reach 4C to even 6C, offering even faster top-ups. Still, the crucial point is that BYD is rapidly closing the gap in density and speed while retaining the structural safety and cost benefits of LFP. Where LFP still stumbles is temperature durability. In cold climates, charging slows dramatically and usable range can shrink by 30 to 40%. This makes Blade-equipped cars less competitive in markets like northern China, Europe, or North America. BYD is tackling this with pack-level thermal management, preheating systems, and LMFP chemistries, adding manganese to raise voltage and improve low-temperature performance. These solutions help, but the cold weather gap remains a structural limitation compared to nickel-based chemistries. From this, the strategy becomes clear. BYD is not chasing the ultimate specification. Instead, it prioritizes practicality, safety, affordability, durability, and good enough capacity and charging speed. And in China's vast EV market, where millions of buyers care more about cost and trust than absolute specs, that pragmatism has proven to be a winning formula. If the Blade battery is the heart of BYD's cars, the muscles that put power to the wheels are its semiconductors. Here too, BYD chose independence. While most automakers outsource their inverters and rely on global chip suppliers, BYD built its own semiconductor arm to avoid being held hostage by shortages or foreign control. That strategy proved prescient. During the 2021 chip crunch, rivals like Volkswagen and NIO halted production. BYD kept building. Its self-developed IGBT4 modules aren't second-tier either. They meet the traction industry's 1200-volt standard, scale to 800 amps, and operate up to 175 degrees Celsius. In short, BYD's inverters cover the full spectrum, from entry-level Seagull to high-performance Yangwang. But BYD isn't stopping at IGBT. The future belongs to silicon carbide, SiC, which enables higher voltages, faster switching, and hotter operation with lower losses. Tesla pioneered large-scale SiC adoption by sourcing from STMicro and Wolfspeed. BYD, meanwhile, has begun deploying its own SiC modules in premium models, improving efficiency and charging performance while cutting thermal losses. In other words, BYD is closing the gap in EV power electronics on its own terms. Competitors remain dependent on global suppliers like Wolfspeed and STMicro. BYD controls the entire chip-to-inverter chain. Every inverter in a BYD car is BYD built, whether driven by IGBT4 or the company's emerging SiC modules. That means no supplier bottlenecks and tighter cost timing control. In a world where semiconductors can shut down assembly lines overnight, that independence isn't just an advantage, it's survival. Here we come to the next frontier, the brain of the car. BYD has made a strategic decision that sets it apart: to democratize autonomy. While most automakers still package advanced driver assistance as a luxury option at a premium price, BYD has chosen the opposite path. Its God's Eye system is being embedded across more than 20 models, often at little to no additional cost. In a bolder move still, BYD pledged to accept liability when its vehicles perform fully automated parking. With that, the company transformed intelligent driving from a niche feature into a baseline expectation for millions of buyers. At its core, God's Eye runs on BYD's Xuanji architecture, a centralized computing platform designed to fuse inputs from cameras, radar, LiDAR, and cloud connectivity. Its stated capabilities are ambitious. Level 3 highway assist, capable of managing long stretches of driving with minimal intervention, and Level 4 automated parking, where the car finds and parks itself without human input. Few global automakers have dared to assume legal responsibility at this stage. BYD's willingness to do so speaks to its engineering confidence. The brilliance of this approach lies in BYD's scale-first philosophy. While rivals chase perfection in small fleets or high-end showcases, BYD floods the road with intelligent cars. Every mile driven becomes data, feeding algorithms that grow sharper through sheer ubiquity. It is less about dazzling demos and more about real-world adoption. A bet that practicality and scale will matter more than perfection in the long run. But how does BYD's brain compare with other titans in the race? Tesla's full self-driving FSD remains the most visible globally, built on a bold vision-only approach and fueled by millions of cars sending back data. Yet legally, it is still only classified as Level 2, with regulators deeply skeptical of its claims. Tesla is global, fast, and daring, but legally fragile. In terms of deployment of advanced assisted driving at scale, BYD is already ahead. Huawei's ADS is widely regarded as China's most advanced urban autonomy platform, excelling at city driving tasks like unprotected turns. Yet Huawei doesn't make cars. It relies on partners like Ceres, Ado brand, which limits its reach. Baidu's Apollo Go leads in robotaxis. In several Chinese cities, Baidu operates Level 4 driverless fleets without safety drivers, the closest real-world deployment of autonomy. But Apollo has not yet crossed into consumer cars at meaningful scale. Against this backdrop, BYD's God's Eye looks different. It may not yet match Huawei's precision in dense city streets, or Baidu's sophistication in robotaxis, or Tesla's global visibility. But it is the only system being mass-deployed today across millions of consumer vehicles. That creates a data flywheel no rival can match in the mass market. The message is clear. Perfection can wait, ubiquity cannot. And this is the essence of BYD's strategy, just as with its Blade battery. Rather than chase the flashiest specs, BYD pursues practicality at scale, safety that builds trust, features that work across price ranges, and technologies that deliver value today. God's eye may not yet be the sharpest brain in the industry, but it is fast becoming the most widespread. And in intelligent driving, as in batteries, scale is the fuel that turns practicality into dominance.